Hi everyone, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. For today's class, we're going to be working a neat little immune boosting sequence. We're going to kick off right off the bat with an amalgamated, abridged form of the Tibetan rites. We'll shoot roughly for about 10 rounds of each rite, just to build up a little bit of heat energy because it is so cold this week. And then we will get stuck into our primaries, play a little bit longer. As always, I want you to just focus on connecting with yourself and playing where you're comfortable before we end off with a neat little bit of breath work and visualization. And if you have a yoga block for the last little sequence when we're doing our breath work, that would be ideal. If you don't sweat, play where you are. All right. Let's come to standing in the middle of your mat. I want you to give me a parallel foot stance. So standing with your feet stacking underneath your hips, a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Just give me a comfortable root in Samasthiti. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and start for me by crossing over the midline of the body as you sway the arms side to side, tapping the alternate shoulder as you bend and pivot on the back leg. As you're bending and pivoting on that back leg, I want you to zipper up on the inner thigh, pull up strongly from the pelvic floor towards your breast line. So start zippering up on that gut. Let's do about 2 more, and then we'll play in mountain and chair. Come to stillness along the midline of the body, heel toe in so that you're stacking underneath the hips. Big breath in. On an exhale, float into a chair and then oscillate dynamically between the two. Every time you find your seat on an exhale, I want you to really focus on trying to warm up through the legs. So try to bring the top of your thighs as parallel to the floor as your body is able to, so that you can feel the whole chain of the legs working. Let's do 3 more. Then we'll change our orientation on the mat. You're going to bring it to a kneeling position. From the front, you've got your hips stacking over the knees. From the side, you've got your ankle behind the knee and the toes tucked under. Start with the arms at your side and your chin nodded softly towards your chest. On an inhale, cup the bum and come into a gentle back bend. Exhale, nod your chin to your chest. You're going to keep rinsing and repeating. Inhaling to open up. Exhale to nod your chin to your chest. Keep going. The whole time that you're playing, I want you to focus on using that inner thigh zip and that strong pull up from the pelvic floor so that you're giving me a nice, high and engaged camel line. Ustrasana, camel. Let's do 2 more, and then we're going to come to a seated frame on the mat. Release the bridges of your feet, sit back on your heels, scooch off to one side, and set yourself up with enough room to play behind you. We're going to play between staff pose, Dandasana, and a nice little modified tabletop line. Sitting up nice and tall, feet in parallel, hands facing palm down towards your toes on the mat beside your hips. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, float the hands behind you, stacking underneath the shoulders, bend the knees and push up into a little tabletop line, and then come back to your seat. You're going to move dynamically between the two. As you come up into that tabletop line, make sure that your feet and your arms and your hands are in parallel so that you've got the weight distribution nice and equal between the arms and the legs, beautifully supporting your body weight. So don't lean aggressively into either the hands or the legs. Let's do 2 more. As you complete the last one, I'd like you to end in a seated frame. Bend the elbows, stacking underneath your armpits, and you can clip the 2 feet together. Don't collapse through the shoulders. So push down through the elbows, protract through the shoulders, bosoms up towards the ceiling. Nod your chin softly towards your chest and give me a double leg lift. If this is too much, tuck the fingertips underneath your bum for support, or bend one knee and give me about 5 singles on each side. You're using your inner thigh connection and that strong pull up from the pelvic floor to lift and lower the legs. So you're not driving the movement from the feet, you're using your lower abdominals and your inner thighs to drive that movement. Strong through the shoulders the whole time. Give me 2 more, and then we'll work a dynamic bridge line just to warm up through the spine. So bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat, and scooch down so that you're lying on your back. Arms at your sides, palms down. Don't have the feet too far away from the body. So bend and try to bring the heels in a little bit closer towards your bum line so that you've got your ankles and your knees aligned as you come up into your bridge. Start with a neutral spine, little space between your lower back and the mat. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Begin imprinting your spine into the mat and then peel up 1 vertebra at a time, disconnecting from the mat and ending nice and high on the shoulder blades. And then roll back down dynamically for me, 1 vertebra at a time. So we're not going to hold the bridge. You're moving dynamically through it. Make sure you're peeling up 1 vertebra at a time. Squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings as you get to the apex of your bridge and keep your hips nice and even, flat belly as you come up. Roll back down for me, mobilizing through the entire spine, rounding and releasing your lower back before you come to neutral spine. So close your eyes and take your focus in. And I want your focus today to be on really finding that connection through the spine as you're rolling up. Begin your roll up from your tailbone. Visualize each little nodule of your spine as you peel up 1 vertebra at a time. Stop when you reach the shoulder blade. Don't bring it onto the neck. And when you're coming back down, make sure you're feeling each little vertebra and don't skip over the lower back. Round and release it first, then tilt your pelvis to 6 and bring it back to neutral spine. 1 vertebra at a time. Feel that connection. Make sure that you're keeping your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart as you're rolling up and down. And make sure that your chin is tucked firmly, or not firmly, but softly down so that you're not arching and straining the neck at all. I want you to relax your shoulder line into the mat as you play. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll change and flip over. Last one. Peeling up with control, using your glutes and your hamstrings. Nice flat belly. Bring it back down. As you reconnect to the mat, gently hug your knees in towards the chest. Cradle rock out. Roll yourself over onto one side and prop yourself up in a 4-point kneeling frame on your mat. Hands stacking underneath your shoulders with your knees stacking underneath the hips. Tuck your toes under. Make sure that your belly button is engaged and that you're pulling in your tummy the whole time that we play. Exhale and hit a down dog frame. Inhale to come back to a soft graze of your knees to the floor. So I want you to actually try and softly tap out to the mat today, but don't smack or bang your knees into the mat. I want you to give me a lot of control through the inner thighs and the lower abs as those knees come down. So you're controlling through your core as you play. Inhale for the tabletop. Exhale as you hit the down dog. If you're feeling the wrists today, you can give me a fisted line with the wrists facing in. So play where you're comfortable. Let's do 3 more, then we'll kick it back in child and take a little time out before we come to our primaries. So come to 4-point kneeling, float the big toes together, open up the knees nice and wide, extend the arms out in front of you, dropping your forehead to the mat, push into both hands and sink the weight of your bum bones back towards your heels. Belly button softly pulled in. Remember that child pose. Balasana is your rest or recovery pose. At any time during the class, if you need it, This is where I'd like you to come to. All right, let's begin playing. Find your way to 4-point kneeling, tuck your toes under, and find a down dog frame. Settle into your down dog. So you're piking your bum up towards the ceiling. Hands are more or less shoulder width apart and your feet hip width distance apart. Really get into the dog today. I want you to push into the whole hand and try to sink your feet, trying to get as much of the whole foot to engage with the mat as you can. Pike your bum up towards the ceiling. Really feel those bum bones growing up towards the ceiling. Nod the crown of your head down, and your eyes are either gently looking towards your kneecaps or towards your navel. Give me 5 more breaths here, then we'll do a little step through on the right, coming into a modified crescent lunge. Bend your right knee, swing it through. If the leg gets stuck on the mat, just corral it, bring it forward. Make sure you've got your knee and your ankle aligned on that lead leg. Relax the back knee, relax the back foot. You're going to float up. If you've got knee over toe, just give me a wiggle forward. We don't want any pressure on that knee joint. As you come up, you're going to float both hands overhead and then come into a prayer position. Bring the palms together and then overlay your 2 thumbs and think of really pushing into the palms. Feel the arms working, feel the chest working, and try not to lean the body weight aggressively forward. So even though you're lunging forward, I want you to focus on that stretch and try to even out your body weight, but focus on that nice little stretch on the inside of the hip bone on the left. Belly button firmly pulled in, so zipper up from your pubic bone towards your belly button line. Give me 5 more breaths here. And then softly float the arms down, bend the elbows, and stack your forearms behind your back. Wiggle your foot slightly more forward and lean into it. Try to even out your body weight distribution, giving me more of a soft crescent shape through the back, and soften through your collarbones and your shoulder blades. Visualize your shoulder blades sinking down towards your lower back. Unwrap and frame your lead leg. Hands are just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Open up your front foot to about 45. Try and have the whole foot grounded on the mat as we play. Drop your left hand palm down on the mat so that it's stacking underneath your shoulder, and float and twist to the right. Either keeping your arm at 90 with the fingertips looking up towards the ceiling, or give me a soft throwback, giving me a little bit more of a rotation through your torso. Stay or play. To play, drag your body weight slightly back, bend the back leg and see if you can connect to the bridge of your foot or the toes. Then lean forward again, trying to keep your whole front foot connected to the mat as you can. Give me more of a rotation through the trunk, gently peeking over that back shoulder to the wall behind you. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in. Give me 5 more breaths here. If coming into the bind is not for you, just stop in the previous round with the hands looking up towards the ceiling. Unbind and reconnect to the floor. Tuck your toes under. And as you bring that knee up off the floor, step up your back leg slightly so that it's more at a 45-degree angle, and then connect the foot to the floor. Windmill up, and as you come up, extend through both legs. So you're giving me a long line. We're going to work a modified triangle. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, focus on your front hand. Somebody's tugging you forward. Pop out your back hip and softly hinge down to rest the top, or rather to rest your palm on the top of your shin. Don't lean into the shin. I want a soft connect to the shin, and then almost try to straighten up through the arms, almost as if you were trying to give me a broomstick type shape through the body. Keep lengthening through the top arm. If you can, take your gaze up towards the ceiling and really focus for me today on lengthening through the top arm. So you're just giving me a soft connect on the shin with the bottom arm, and your focus is on using your inner thighs and that strong pull up from your pelvic floor, and then run that line from your pelvic floor to the tip of your top hand that's looking up towards the ceiling. Come back to your line on the mat. You're going to gently pivot on the back leg, interlace the hands behind your back and pull them apart. Don't make a fist today, just give me a strong pull. Almost thinking of squaring up through the wrist line and the palms. And then wiggle your back foot further away and see how low you can drop your torso to the mat. Try to have that front leg stacked so you've got knee over ankle. We're going to work a little balancing challenge from here. We're going to bring it into a warrior 3 line, and we're going to try and keep those hands interlaced behind our back. I'll give you a modification if you need it. Launch off the back leg, bringing all the weight to the front leg. Use the back toe for support if you need to. Hinge forward and see if you can gently bring yourself as parallel to the floor as you can. If interlacing is not happening for you, open up the hands and give me aeroplane arms if you can. Give me at least 5 more breaths here. Then we're going to bring it to a little seated twist on the floor, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Come back into a standing position, bend the back knee, relax the foot so that you're almost sitting just behind your foot. Left leg is bent, take your right leg and cross the right foot over that left knee. Wiggle your left foot out the way so that both of your bum bones are connected to the mat. Try and keep that whole front foot connected to the mat. So big toe, baby toe, and heel connected. Take the right fingertips, float them to the floor behind you. Cross over the midline of the body to place your left elbow on the outside of your right knee, giving me a little stop sign. Rotate through the trunk. Soften through that back elbow and shoulder and peek to the wall behind you. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in and try to get a sense of whether your right bum cheek has come up off the mat. Try to keep it firmly grounded into the mat. Give me 5 more breaths here. Then we'll repeat this little sequence on the left. Come back towards the midline of the body, swing your lead leg back and take a little time out in child. Big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Push into both hands and sink the weight of your bum bones back. If you're feeling any tension in the shoulders, you can wrap the hands around the body, back of the hands connected to the mat. If you can't easily connect your forehead to the mat in child, take your block and rest your forehead into the block. You can use that block in any dimension. Always playing where you are and finding what's working for your body today. All right, let's repeat that sequence on the left. Find your 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. Tuck your toes under and pike up towards the ceiling, finding your down dog frame. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Push into those hands, push into the feet. Try to ground through the front and the back chain of the body. Zipper up on those inner thighs and the lower abs. Run that zip all the way from your pubic bone towards your breast line. Give me 5 more breaths here, then we'll step through on the left into our crescent lunge. Bend the left leg, swing it through, step to the inside of the left knee, relax the back knee, relax the back foot, and find Anyanya Asana, crescent lunge, as you gently peel up. Find your body weight distribution, float your hands overhead, and then bring the 2 palms together in prayer and overlay the thumbs one on top of the other. Push into the hands, really feel that pressure running all the way from the inside of the hand, feeling down the arms, and then relax the shoulders away from your ears. Use your inner thighs, use your lower abs. Float the arms softly at your side, wiggle slightly forward. Bend the arms or bend the elbows and behind your back. Stack your forearms, hold onto them, and see if you can give me more stretch through those inner thighs and into the groin area. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in the whole time that you're playing. Ready to twist and play in Uttan Pristhasana, modified lizard. Unbind and frame both hands on the floor. Focus on your front left leg. Open it up to 45. Try to keep the whole foot connected to the mat. Ensure that your right hand is stacking underneath your right shoulder. Take a big breath in and float your left arm up to the ceiling. Either just softly looking up to the ceiling with the arm at 90 or giving me more of a throwback, almost trying to reach for the wall behind you with your fingertips. Stay or play. To play, bend back leg, bring the toes up to the ceiling, lean back slightly and see if you can connect to that foot. Then bring your body weight forward again and relax and open up through the back left shoulder, giving me a nice little stretch through the quad on the right. Keep using your inner thighs and your lower abs and just softly look up towards the ceiling. See if you can give me 5 more breaths here. Gently unbind, reconnect to the floor. We're going to find our way into triangle. Bring the back knee up off the floor. Step up slightly to about 45. Windmill up, straighten up both legs and try to give me a relatively parallel line through the arms. Pretend somebody's tugging your front hand. Hinge forward from the waist. Softly connect that palm to your shin and lengthen through the top arm. Focus on that top arm as you find your open triangle, Uttita Trikonasana, lengthening. Feel the work that's happening through the trunk on the right. So you're feeling a nice stretch from your hip bone on your right, feeding through the trunk and exiting towards the ceiling on that right hand. Float back up, pivot on the back toe, bend the front leg. Wiggle down as you interlace the hands behind you and find a nice high lunge line. Hold. Uttita Ashwa Sanshalasana. Nice little modified lunge line. Keep thinking of tugging those hands away from each other so you've got them zip locked in. You're going to give me 5 more breaths here and then we'll take it to that modified warrior 3 line. Virabhadrasana 3, trying to keep the hands interlaced. Okay, use your inner thighs and your lower abs to find your balance. So push off the back foot. Use the work that we did earlier on in the week, finding that inner thigh connection. Zipper up. Try and bring your body line as parallel to the floor as you're comfortable with today. Focus on trying to keep your shoulder line and your hip line relatively stacked to the floor. If keeping the interlace is not working for you, just open up and give me airplane arms behind you. We're going to bring it into that little twist. Reconnect to the mat. Bend the back knee, relax the back foot, and sit back with your bum cheek just to the right of that foot. Wiggle the foot out the way so that you're making space for your bum bone on the left. Float your left leg around that front knee. Reconnect your bum bones to the mat. Float the left fingertips to the floor behind you. Give me a big breath in. Cross over the midline of the body to place your elbow on the outside of that knee. Rotate and look over the back shoulder. Check that your left bum bone hasn't come up off the mat. So there's going to be a tendency for you to want to lean heavily to the right. Try to find that inner thigh connection and try to bring your body weight back to center. Use your inner thighs, use your lower abs. Give me at least 5 more breaths here. Then we'll kick it back in child before we bring it to camel. Float that lead leg around. Find your way into child pose. Big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Push into both hands and sink the weight of your bum bones back. Take your time out here. 3 more breaths here, then we'll find our way into a kneeling frame on the mat. As you peel up, reposition yourself towards the middle of your mat so that you've got room to play in front and behind you. Tuck your toes under, check that your hips are stacked over the knees and try not to round out through the torso. So use those inner thighs and the lower abs. Float both sets of fingertips into your lower back and take a gentle supported camel line. Hold for 10 breaths here if you can. Feel those inner thighs working. Feel that strong pull up through the lower abdominal area. Float the 2 elbows and the 2 shoulders together along the midline of the body and just keep your chin line nice and soft for me today. No strain in the back of your neck. Round out. Connect your fingertips to the mat and come up onto the haunches. So walk your weight back. tucking your chin towards your chest and rounding out your spine so that you've got a nice rugby ball shape on the mat. Look gently down towards your navel or your pubis, and the shoulders are soft and rounded with just the fingertips connected to the mat. We're going to come back into camel and play. Find your way back to the mat. Find your kneeling position, toes are tucked under. Float the right fingertips into the lower back and your left arm up to the ceiling. Rotate right and peek over that right shoulder to the floor behind you. Try not to lean your body weight back. Keep your hips stacking over your knees. Use your inner thighs and your lower abs. Nod your chin softly to your chest. Arms at your side. We're going to repeat on the other side. Left hand floats into the lower back. Peek over that back shoulder. Feel that pull up from your inner thighs to your breastbone. Drop both arms at your sides. Nod your chin to your chest. Walk your weight back. Round out. Tuck into your little rugby ball. Either keeping your fingertips connected to the mat or see if you can float the palms off the mat. So just gripping through all 10 toes and using that zip from your ankle bone towards your belly button line. Find that zip we played with earlier on in the week. Let's reconnect to the mat, the last camel line. Find your camel stack. Float the right hand to the lower back, left arm up to the ceiling, looking over that shoulder, or extend the right fingertips. Try to connect to your heel. Once you've found it, see if you can rotate through the head and gently peek up to the ceiling. Play where you're comfortable. Drop both arms at your sides, nod your chin to your chest. We're going to repeat on the left. Left fingertips to your lower back, right arm up to the ceiling, stay, or float the left fingertips to your left heel. Once you've found it, take your gaze, your drishti, up to the ceiling. Look up. That ceiling is your drishti, your focal point. Drop both arms at your sides, nod your chin to your chest, and then we're going to sit back in hero. So bring the two knees together and open up the feet behind you, trying to take a seat between the 2 feet. If this feels really uncomfortable for you, open up the knees a little bit wider, take your block, feed your block through, and sit back on the block. If your knees are still not happy here, just play with the camel line that we just did and come into your kneeling frame on the mat. If you've managed to connect to hero, Virasana, and the knees don't need to touch. I mean, obviously, ideally, if they want to touch, awesome, first prize. But if they're not feeling the joy today, open up the legs a little bit wider and find a comfortable seat that's working for you today. For the first one, I'd like you to place the hands just behind your hip line and creep them as far away from you as you can. Trying to nod your chin softly towards your chest and focus on the soft stretch that you're feeling from the inside of the knees and the top of your thighs all the way towards your breast line. Give me 5 more breaths here, then we'll time out in child. We'll work 3 progressions of Virasana today. Gently creep your weight forward. Change your leg line. Come into a soft kneel, big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Extend the arms in front. And then just soften through the elbows and the arms, almost giving me a soft frame of your head. So there's no tension in the arms at all. And you're softly just resting some of the weight on the elbows as well as the forehead. Peel back up along the midline of the body and find your way back into Virasana. So knees together, open up the feet behind you. Find your seat using the block modification if you need to. This time, invert the hands so that they're facing towards your bum line. Either stay here, just extending softly through the arms and the chest, or to play, you're going to see if you can find your way to the elbows. If the elbows are easily connecting to the floor, you might want to creep your hands closer and hold on to the feet. And then see if you can drop the crown of your head towards the floor. So you're giving me almost a crescent shape through the back. and hold here for me. So either playing with the crown connected to the mat or arms still extended, palms looking in, and just think bosoms up to the ceiling. Play where you're at. See if you can give me 5 more breaths here, then we'll come back to child, balasana. If you were in the full expression, push through the elbows, nod your chin to your chest, find your way onto what's one set of fingertips, replicate on the other side, creep your weight forward, change your foot position. Big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Soften through the elbows and the arms as you find your child, connecting your forehead to the mat. Feel that soft pull up through the inner thighs and your lower abs as you find your child. Let's work one more Virasana modification. Find your way back. Knees together, feet open behind. Either repeating what we did in the previous round, fingertips looking towards your bum and just extend through the arms and the bosom, or find your way onto the elbows. If you can, see if you can not only connect to your feet, but bring your shoulder line and your back line to connect to the mat. So the arms are just softly draped at your side, or you can give me that prayer hand, interlacing your palms, or rather overlaying your palms and just dropping your prayer hands to the floor behind you. Play where you're comfortable, stop anywhere along the chain, and you'll see that today I've opened up my knees a little bit wider. My body's telling me I need to open up, so that's where I'm playing today. Remember that the body is different day to day, and you're here to primarily learn to connect with yourself and engage with your body and listen and adjusting according to the feedback that it's consistently giving you. Find your way onto your elbows. If you were in the full expression, brace into the back of your heels. Bring the weight up, nodding your chin softly towards your chest. Find your way onto one set of fingertips, replicate on the other side, and slowly creep your weight forward. Find your way back into child pose one last time. Give me at least 5 more breaths here. Then gently feet up, and we'll find our way into Julana Loka Anasana, a little spinal roll. As always, playing where you're comfortable. Find a soft tuck just off your tailbone, round out through the spine, and just gently rock about 5 times back and forth, just releasing that tension in the spine. Make sure that as you're rounding out, you're dropping the weight through your sternum and feel that connection through your core. Give me one more and we'll bring it to a bow, to a bridge. So find your way onto the back, arms at your sides, palms down, feet and knees hip-width distance apart. Begin in neutral spine, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position, start rolling up one vertebra at a time, control through the core and the spine. Stop when you reach the shoulder blades. Tuck the 2 shoulders as close together towards the midline of the body as you can. Arms are at your side, palms down. Use your glutes and your hamstrings, so squeeze, nod your chin softly towards the chest, and try to have your knees and your ankles nicely overlaying. Try not to V those knees out, so try to keep yourself hip-width distance apart the whole time. Open up softly through the shoulder blades and roll down uber slowly. Control through the spine, control through the core as you come down. Feel each little nodule of the spine as you reconnect to the mat. Make sure you round and release your lower back before you tilt softly to the 6 o'clock position through the pelvis and find your way to neutral. Hug both knees in towards the chest and just gently cradle rock out. We're going to work one more variation and we'll stay or play as we come up. So don't look, just listen for the cues. Keep your chin tucked towards your chest. Find your setup frame for bridge, Setu Bandha. Begin in neutral. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock and begin your roll up. One vertebra at a time. Nice and high on the shoulder blades. Stay or interlace the hands. So squeeze those two shoulders as close together along the midline. Don't make a fist. Think of that more squared frame through the wrist line and the hands that we played with in Warrior 3 early on. And our lunge. Keep it there, or see if you can transfer the weight to your left leg and float your right toes softly up towards the ceiling, giving me a one-legged bridge. Ekapada Setu Bandha. Softly bend the right knee, reconnect the foot to the floor. See if you can replicate on the left. So transfer the weight to your right foot. Keep your chin tucked firmly towards your chest. Float your left toes softly up to the ceiling. Reconnect to the mat. Uninterlace your hands, open up the shoulders. Connect your shoulder blades first to the mat and then slowly, slowly begin your descent. Pretend you've got a little row of marshmallows underneath your spine and you're trying to squish them one marshmallow at a time. Round and release your lower back. Tilt softly to the 6 o'clock position and then come comfortably back to neutral. Hug both knees in towards your chest and squeeze down. Place both palms down on the knees and just open up slightly, almost hugging the knees into the side of your rib cage. Hold. Release the soles of both feet to the floor and then just brace around your right shin and hug your right shin only into your chest. Really squeeze it in. We're going to repeat on the left. Big breath in, exhale, and hug that left leg in. Let's double up one last time. Big breath in, really fill your lungs to capacity. On the exhale, give me a nice audible exhale through the mouth, almost opening up through the chest and squeezing the knees into the side of your rib cage. We're going to morph into rocker, so you're going to think rolling like a ball, but opening up the knees a little bit wider. Give me a nice 90 behind your knees, bracing behind the legs. Nod your chin firmly towards your chest and gently rock back and forth. If rocking on the back is not for you, stay lying down on the mat and just gently cradle rock side to side, then roll over to one side when we come to a seated frame. In seated on your mat, you're going to find your way into butterfly. Bring the soles of your feet together, float your knees nice and wide, really trying to tuck those heels as close towards the perineum as you can, and then float the hands behind you so that they're situated behind your hip line. Nod your chin softly down and lengthen through your spine. Look down towards your feet, your heels, and try to grow through your spine. So don't think Quasimodo. Think of that long line from your tailbone to your crown and just keep your chin line nice and soft. Hold. You're going to give me about 5 more breaths here and then we'll come to Paschimottanasana, a forward fold, and we'll use a little toe lock today. So as you softly come out of your extended butterfly, take your middle index finger and thumb and grab hold of your big toe on the one side, replicate on the other, try to extend the legs. And today, instead of rounding out through the spine, I really want you to focus on trying to almost drop your shoulder blades towards the mat and try to bring just the tip of your chin over your toes. If connecting to the toes is not an option for you today, it's a no-go, a firm no. Just reach for your strap, your belt, or your hand towel, place it around the feet, but really float those elbows wide and focus on trying to bring your chin over the toes. Try to stretch that little turkey waddle underneath your chin. It's been a long week. Let's get rid of all the tension in those funny little nooks and crannies. Give me at least 6 more breaths here, trying to soften through those shoulders and float your elbows wide. Peel up softly. Just give me a little shake out. We're going to do one more, holding for about 10 seconds, and then we'll come into our modified cow face. So float your elbows down and wide. Bring your chin over your toes and think of trying to make your torso heavy towards the top of your legs. Belly button firmly pulled in. Peel up along the midline of the body, bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet. Take your right hand, thread it underneath the right leg, reaching for the front of your left ankle. Grab that foot, tuck it in, and then feed your right foot over the left knee. You're going to knife edge both feet for me. Wiggle your left foot out the way so that you can feel both of your bum bones are firmly connected to the mat. Take your middle index finger and thumb on both hands and give me a little toe lock, panangustasana lock. Tuck the feet in as if you were trying to wrap the feet around your hips. Start with a soft back line and your chin tucked softly towards the chest. Then feel the shoulders dropping down towards your waist and feel an opening through the chest as you uncurl your head like a fern frond, trying to give me a soft throwback. If you're feeling too much tension in the neck, just stop with your chin line parallel to the floor. So play where you're comfortable. If you had the head softly thrown back, bring it back to parallel. Give me a soft nod of your head to the right, peeking softly over the right shoulder. Come back to the center line, replicate on the left. Come back to the center line, unwrap your feet. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet. Take the left hand, tuck it underneath the left leg, reaching for the front of your right shin or ankle. Bring that leg in. Find your seat on the mat. Wiggle the right foot out the way so that you're making space for your bum bone. Cross the left leg over the right knee. Knife edge both of your feet. Find your toe lock on the big toe. Nod your chin firmly, nod your chin softly down and float your elbows wide. Uncurl your head like a fern frond. Opening up to the chest to drop your shoulders back. Give me a soft throwback or stop in parallel. Come back to parallel with the chin. Big breath in. On an exhale, rotate to the left to peek over the shoulder. The elbows are still softly floating and you've still got that toe lock around the big toe. Come back towards the center. Exhale and peep over the right. Bring it back towards the midline of the body. Uncross. We're going to find our way into Siddhasana. So you're going to cross. I'm going to angle myself slightly at 45. You're more than welcome to do the same. Tuck into Sukhasana, stacking one leg on top, one leg in front of the other. And then if you've got a block, drag your block closer. Bring the weight forward so that you're resting on the knees and tuck the block underneath your bum so that you can just sit on the edge of the block. You've got the legs neatly stacked in front of you, either one in front of the other, or you can take your lead leg and tuck it between the calf and the thigh of your opposite leg. But for today, let's just keep it on the floor if we can. Weight resting on the knees. Hands either palms down on the knees or take your index finger and your thumb, make a little active gyun and drop your hands palms down on the knees. We're going to do a little bit of breath work, just 3 rounds of bellows breath. We're going to be inhaling and exhaling through the nose at a 1-to-1 inhalation to exhalation ratio. As you exhale, I want you to think of using the lower abdominals and tucking them underneath the diaphragm every time you exhale, almost purging all of the stale air out through the lungs. Your breath is going to sound something like this. Short, pumping breath like a little bellows that you use to get a fire going. Bastrika breath. We're going to do 3 rounds of 15 breaths. Close your eyes, take your focus in, and when you're ready, start pumping for 15. Give me at least 5 recovery breaths, inhaling and exhaling equally through both nostrils. When you're ready, begin round 2. Give me at least 5 relaxed inhalations and exhalations to take you through recovery. When you're ready, begin round 3. Give me at least 5 relaxed recovery breaths. When you're ready, gently open the eyes and float your hands into a lotus mudra by bringing the bridges of your palms together, connecting your pinkies and your thumbs and having your fingertips open towards the ceiling. With your little lotus bloom situated in front of your heart center, your anahata chakra. Close your eyes, take your focus in. Visualize yourself as being that beautiful white lotus bloom with your petals open and receptive towards the sunlight, taking in the energy of the sun and using it for growth. Use this as a little bit of symbolism and try to apply it to your daily life. Visualize yourself as that lotus bloom, trying to keep yourself open and receptive to everything that the universe has to offer, both good and bad. Take in, receive, but also give back. Let the light in and don't be afraid to reflect it back out. Shine like the beautiful diamond that you are. You are beautiful. You are worthwhile. Shine from the inside out. Close your lotus bloom. Shanti. Peace to all of you. Thank you so much for coming out to play with me today. Please give me a thumbs up to like this video. Shoot me your comments in the comments box just below the display window. And remember to hit that big red subscribe button for my YouTube channel. Have an amazing weekend and I will see you all Monday, same time. Till then, keep it light.